In the 1960s, Detroit automakers conjured up some very special factory race cars that were generally unobtainable for most racers, as they were rare, expensive, and available only to the most well-known and factory-connected race teams. In this video, we take a look at these race-engineered versions of Chevrolet and Pontiac models from the 1960s that are known as factory lightweight and race car specials and are highly sought after by present-day collectors. Chevrolet was one of the originators of combining aircraft-type weight reduction techniques together with the addition of a high-performance engine to its full-size models to help drag racers gain an edge on race day and to show spectators that their brand ruled. For the 1963 season, Chevrolet decided to maximize Impala's quarter-mile mojo by enhancing the lightweight program even more. The result of this was a special competition package intended for drag and NASCAR racers. It was titled the Z11 and has become legendary among car buffs and collectors. It included frontal area aluminum body panels in place of the stamped steel versions, together with non-race purpose equipment deletions such as sound deadening material, radio, heater, and front anti-sway bar. The most impressive party trick though was beneath the hood. Here, Chevrolet developed a highly modified version of the 409 engine that was bored out to 427 cubic inches and featured a high-rise aluminum intake manifold, atop which sat two 4-barrel carbs. Also included were forged internal components and a special cowl induction cold air engine intake system. The engine produced 430 horsepower and a staggering 575 pound-feet of torque, and could blister through the quarter mile in the low 11-second range. In total, it is believed that around 50 to 57 Z11 427 Impalas were built, with only 7 known to exist today. When it came to factory-built drag race cars, Pontiac had its own groove going on in the early 1960s as well. In late 1962, Pontiac debuted a lightweight Catalina race special with the Super Duty 421 engine underrated at 405 horsepower and offered these to race teams for the 1963 NHRA race season. 14 of these cars were built and included the expected lightweighting measures such as aluminum body panels and non-essential equipment deletion. Incredibly though, Pontiac dug deep into the crazy bin and came up with an idea that took weight reduction a step further. They decided to modify the box section frame rails by removing one entire side, leaving a U-shaped channel, and then punching 120 large diameter holes into the vertical portion of the rails. In all, the techniques applied saved around 400 pounds over that of a factory stock Catalina with the 421 Super Duty, and earned the car the nickname of the Swiss Cheese Catalina. 9 of the 14 produced Catalina 421 Super Duty lightweights still survive today, and are highly treasured on the car show and auction circuits, thanks to their intriguing construction and racing provenance. In early 1962, 2 race teams brought modified Pontiac Tempests to the NHRA Winter Nationals that they had stuffed race-spec 421 Super Duties into and replaced the stock transaxle driveline with a conventional manual transmission and differential from a Catalina. It seemed to do the trick. The Tempests were a half a second quicker through the traps than the next quickest cars in their class. Engineers at Pontiac took notice of the team's Tempest victories, inspiring them to create their own factory versions of the 421 Super Duty Tempests for the 1963 race season. They built 14 of the combat-ready Tempests, consisting of a mix of 8 coupes and 6 station wagons. Yep, that's correct, station wagons. For these cars, the steel front-end body panels were swapped out for aluminum versions, and the car's original 326 cubic inch engine replaced by the underrated 405 horsepower 421 Super Duty with dual quad carburetors, forged internal components, and tubular stainless steel headers with 3-inch diameter outlets. All 14 of the white-painted Tempests were built over a 2-week period in December of 1962 and wore 326 engine identifier badges as sort of an inside joke for the race crowd. The cars could tame the quarter mile in the low 12-second range with some tuning and high 11-second times with the rear transaxle driveline swapped out for a conventional manual transmission and differential combo. Not all of the factory lightweights from GM in the early 1960s were meant for the drag strip. The Corvette was completely restyled for the 1963 model year and received improved powertrains and handling attributes. The updated car now had the potential to be competitive against the Shelby Cobras, Ferraris, and Porsches on road race courses. Help was needed though, and in stepped Zora Arkus Duntov, the director of high-performance vehicles at Chevrolet, to infuse some road racing mojo into the Corvette by creating the 1963 Corvette Grand Sport. The Grand Sport was a lightweight version of the 1963 model featuring an aluminum block 377 cubic inch V8 engine that developed more than 550 horsepower and was intended to compete in the 1963 Le Mans race. They raced during the Nassau Speed Week and were competitive and slammed the Shelby Cobras, but failed to take first place in the trophy race, the final event of the series. In 1964, Roger Penske returned to Nassau and took the checkered flag at the trophy race. These cars were bad to the bone and an indication of the direction the Corvette was heading if factory-directed race development efforts were permitted to progress. Zora applied a litany of weight-saving measures to make this car a bare-bones, purpose-built race warrior that resulted in a 1,300-pound weight reduction over that of a stock Corvette Stingray's 3,200-pound curb weight. All 5 of the original Corvette Grand Sports still exist, and occasionally pop up at auto shows and other events. Rarely, one of these will appear at auction and command prices of over $5 million. This one has become quite well known in the 40-plus years since it originated. We're talking about the fabled 1969 Camaro COPO cars, and more specifically the 69 that were built with the factory-installed ZL1 427 all-aluminum big block engine. In the 1960s, GM had a rule that no engines over 400 cubic inches could be installed in mid-sized or smaller vehicles. However, the demand among the drag racing community was intense for Chevrolet to offer their L72 427 in their Camaros and also Chevelles as factory options. Chevrolet responded with a workaround for the rule and quietly made the engine available through their fleet ordering process for Chevrolet dealers known as the Central Office Production Ordering System, or COPO for short. Through this method, around 1,069 COPO Camaros were produced, 69 with the ZL1 version of the 427, and the remainder with the solid lifter L72 version. The ZL1 was designed specifically for drag racing in the superstock classes and was rated at 430 horsepower, but with exhaust changes and tuning, gross horsepower could be increased to over 500 giddy-up horses. These are some great cars that Chevrolet and Pontiac produced for racetrack battle, and a great peek into the lightweighting and powertrain technology that GM had developed or adopted in the 1960s. Interestingly, 4 of the 5 cars featured in this video were from the year 1963, and it's not a coincidence, and here's why. In late 1962, things were getting wild in the Pontiac and Chevrolet factory performance departments, as this was just before the time when GM management became serious about enforcing an agreement that was entered into in 1957 by Ford, Chrysler, and GM that declared each of the manufacturers would not engage in the development and building of factory-backed race cars. The Chevrolet and Pontiac performance groups responsible for developing the lightweight race cars knew that the enforcement was forthcoming in late 1962 and expedited production and delivery of the 1963 model year cars to dealerships and race teams before the ban date and before orders by GM leadership came down to destroy the cars. That's it for now. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and share this video, and please subscribe to our channel.